Alrighty. Well, hello.
Hey,
Hey,
Welcome back.
finally.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about a topic that is pretty interesting that I found interesting since I was a kid. Dad, you remember this in Arizona?
Yeah.
Um,
01.
yeah, 2001. This is actually right before the World Trade Centers happened.
Yeah.
oh,
Like 4 or 5 months before 9/11.
Yeah,
oh wow.
yeah. So we are going to talk about the story of Robert Fisher. This man is to this day I believe number 9 or 10 on the FBI's most wanted list, and he
Oh.
has yet to be caught. So I'm sure, like most people are wondering, well, why is he on the top 10 most wanted list? Well, I'll break it down for you, but let's first talk about who he was. Robert William Fisher was born April 13th in 1961 in New York City. And if you have any questions, just say something. Don't you don't have to wait for me to finish speaking. Just ask a question, okay?
Okay.
He was born in New York but lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. Damn.
Sorry. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, we heard it.
Yeah.
Oh,
He worked in Scottsdale, Arizona. He worked at a clinic hospital. Before that, he was a U.S. Navy vet. He was a firefighter before injuring himself, a surgical technician, and a respiratory therapist. He was a father of two, Brittany and Robert Jr., and he was a husband to Mary Cooper. Now, a lot of people said that this guy was, you're right over there.
go ahead. Allergies, man. It's kicking my
Oh
ass.
yeah.
Now, a lot of people said that Robert Fisher Sr. was a pretty odd man, and if you watch some of the home videos of him interacting with his kids and interacting with his wife, he was definitely a strange dude. According
He was a
to
control freak.
yeah,
Okay.
He was a
definitely
strange dude.
Yeah,
He didn't like
definitely.
anybody.
He was a really weird guy. He would go up to the mountains in Arizona, and he would disappear for like a solid week or 2 weeks. No, and this is also before cell phones and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So, a former neighbor of Robert Fisher, Mr. Wade Rinskock. Sounds funny.
That didn't come out right, but okay.
Okay.
Just say the neighbor.
Yeah.
The neighbor.
Don't worry about his cock.
He said Robert was a smart man. He knew what he was doing, referring to his career paths. But he wasn't a quick man. When talking to him, you saw him analyze and process every word that was said. So, I mean, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm not anyone who has any type of medical advice, but people who kind of like process things are kind of on the spectrum of like autism or Asperger.
Yeah.
Asperger's. So I think that could probably play into some of the stuff that that happened.
Oh, he wasn't? You don't know if he was?
And when I looked, he didn't have it. It didn't say that he had any of that stuff, but it is a possibility.
Shit, if he was in the Navy, maybe he was just had a brain injury,
Right.
Possible. I mean,
concussion or something.
the injury that they said that he had when he injured himself in the firefighter when he was a firefighter, was he injured his back. I don't know if that can play in with his brain or anything, but possibility.
Was he a firefighter in Arizona or in New York? I knew he was born in New York, but he
Yeah.
didn't live there very long, did he?
No, he went from New York to Arizona, and he was a firefighter in Arizona. Now, according to, and also keep this part in mind, according to the sister of Robert Fisher, ironically, his dog was also named Blue. Dad, like your fat guard dog over there.
My fat dog. My
Yeah.
worthless pit bull.
Actually, you know what I just realized? I
What?
didn't even introduce you. This is a terrible beginning.
You're a terrible host. Yeah. And her name's not Brent.
No, it's
No.
not Brett. I mean, it could be.
I'm transitioning. No.
Yeah.
So,
She's
Someone
5
closes
eighths
blank.
away.
Right?
so, real quick, everyone, this is my Aunt Serena. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for doing this. We're almost 5 minutes into this, or 6 minutes into this, and I'm just now introducing you.
Way to go, son.
Yeah, thank you. I'm working on it. This is how you get listeners.
Yeah.
But this is your first podcast that you've ever done, though, correct?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing one or being a part of one before this?
No, I mean, I like listening to them, but I never thought about being a part of one. So this is interesting.
It is interesting, and all the crap that you send me on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
That shit is fucking wild.
On Facebook?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
sent me a lot of stuff from the
Links.
yeah,
From
links.
the IG channel I follow,
cool.
they have a lot of
Ooh.
stories on there.
Yeah.
And I'm always sending them to them about unsolved like murders and mysteries and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my gig also.
Yeah. I watch it with Dad all the time. So
Yeah.
So now that you've been introduced, sorry,
it's okay.
let's continue where we left off. The fat dog, Blue.
Yeah.
That was also Robert Fisher's dog's name. He had a Labrador that was named Blue. And according to the sister, as I mentioned, he actually loved this dog more than he loved his own kids.
Wow.
Well, if he didn't kill him, obviously he did.
So, with Mary Cooper, the wife of Fisher, it was said that they would argue often, but they would eventually cool down after Robert would then go up north and hike for a bit and camp out, and then they'd come back. He'd come back, and then everything would be back to normal. So one of the many arguments that they had was based around cheating. Robert allegedly had an affair with a masseuse and was found with a UTI, a urinary tract infection. So all of this played into.
Is this why he did all that? Because
this is an idea, because we're, like I said, we're working towards it. But Mary found out that he had a UTI, and some speculations happened. So after that, according to reports, as you mentioned, Robert was a very controlling person, and as I said, if you watch some of the videos that are on YouTube, the way that he talks to his wife is like, "Hey, turn off this camera, turn off this TV," or it's
he's
really
real
strange.
demanding.
Yeah,
He's
really
real
strange.
demanding.
To the point where if Mary wanted to hang up a picture, even of their own kids, she would have to first ask Robert if that was okay.
Oh, wow.
But if he wanted to hang up a deer head that he had just killed, he can go ahead and put it on there.
Of course, priority. The hell.
Of course. So, and this is where where things really start kind of getting weird more with him hunting. Robert went on I can't think of the word. He went up north, went hunting with one of his buddies, and after getting an elk, Robert began to douse himself in blood, and he was like rubbing it all over his face, like he was rubbing lotion into his skin.
Really?
Yeah, this is just what one of the reports was. Now
Go ahead. I'm just interested.
Yeah. Now for everyone who's listening, and Serena, if you're listening, I see him in the back. If you're wondering, well, what the hell is this whole story even about. Robert Fisher was charged or is suspected of killing his wife, Mary, his son, Robert Jr., and his daughter. So let's talk about the day that they died. All right. The day was April 10th, 2001, and at 8:45 a.m., a flood of 911 calls came in with I don't know what that means.
They thought it was a fire. Well, it was a fire.
It was an explosion.
Yeah, the house exploded. Right?
Yeah, I did a talk to text and it did something weird. So that's why I got confused. But yes, the house exploded. Literally was engulfed in flames.
Oh wow.
So every report that came in was, hey, this house is on fire. We need someone in here. And once firefighters got there, news crews got there, because this whole thing, like, it almost took out half the block. Like, this explosion was huge.
Yeah. It was a big house. He was at the end of the cul-de-sac. I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah. So when the fire department did arrive, the flames reached, were almost reaching the neighbor's yard. They were able to eventually put out the fire. But during the firefight, when one of the news crews came up from KPHO, the firefighter told the reporter Tammy that, quote, that smell of burning bodies, you don't quickly forget that. So he smelt people burning inside.
Oh, he's the firefighter.
The firefighter did.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's not his only body he's ever recovered.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he knew the smell.
Exactly. He knew the smell, so he knew what was going on. Finally, once the flames were out, a gruesome scene was actually discovered. What they found were 3 dead bodies, 2 children and 1 adult. Now, they didn't know at the time that it was the family of Mary, the son, Robert Jr., and the daughter, Ashley, I think was her name. Brittany. Nope. It was a white girl name.
One of those.
One of those. But what they didn't find was the dad, Robert Fisher. As a matter of fact, they were trying to figure out where this guy was or where the dad was in general. And after all of that happened, after finding the house on fire, that what they found was he actually had taken off the night prior. But what made the house explode? What made the house catch on fire? This was one of the biggest questions that they had. What they found when fire inspectors came in was that the linoleum tile in the kitchen was actually doused with paint thinner and gasoline.
Wow.
So it was all covered. And what really kind of really tipped them off that someone had killed them, had killed the 3 people, the family, was that everything was doused in, like I said, paint thinner and gasoline, and there was a candle placed right in the middle of the kitchen.
Oh.
So it gave it time to burn until it hit, and then it went up in flames. Now, go ahead.
You're forgetting something.
What am I forgetting?
It blew up.
Right. Oh, well, I was going to get to that.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know if you knew that too. All right, go ahead.
Oh, trust me. I did some good digging.
Okay.
So they found all this. They were like, okay, someone had to have done this. They put thinner all over here. But what they didn't find was common of like items being stolen. You know, if someone wanted to hide their steps or whatever, no items were taken as far as jewelry, what do you call it? Furniture or anything like that.
Electronics. High dollar items.
None of that was taken. All they found were 3 dead bodies in their beds, mind you.
Oh, wow.
With accelerant on the floor and a candle. And they found that the pipe in the back of the oven had been broken off.
Yeah, it's propane.
Oh, so
Propane.
the gas was leaking
Yeah.
in the back?
Right.
Oh.
And that propane's highly ignited once it
Yeah.
builds up into the house.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
and if you're using the candle, it's going to build into the house, like my dad just said. And then
Right.
once it hits the flame, with accelerant on the floor, boom, you got a gigantic fireball.
Mhm.
Now, like I said, the bodies were found in their bed, but they were not only found burned, excuse me, they were found with gunshot wounds to the head.
Oh.
Oh, he shot the kids too?
Yeah.
Oh
No,
my God.
I take that back. He shot his wife.
Yeah, I knew
in
he
the head,
shot his wife.
and he slit his children's throats.
Yeah,
wow.
that's
Now, according to reports,
bad.
and at the time, the lead detective that was on the case, he said that the two children were almost beheaded. That's how clean the cut was.
Oh my God.
They were pretty small.
Yeah,
They were small kid. The
They're
son
young
was the
kids.
younger one.
Oh.
and
Yeah.
like I said, he's a hunter, so he has a hunter's
Well,
knife.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now,
Wow.
where was Robert? Shortly after Scottsdale PD got there, the case changed from an arson case, because that's initially what they thought, someone just lit a house on fire, to a triple homicide. And Robert was their prime suspect.
Okay, so you said that he had left. So he timed this. He used that candle as a timer.
Mhm.
So when
Correct.
the house filled up. So he was already gone the night prior.
Yes.
Oh, so
Oh,
no
wow.
wonder why. He had a
And
whole day ahead of him.
exactly, that's exactly what they said. They said by the time the cops got there at the firefighters and the cops got there at around 8:45, 9 o'clock, he could have easily had a 24-hour jump on him, easily.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go back one day. That was the incident, but we're gonna go back to the night of where things kind of felt weird for some people. April 9th, 2001. It was a normal day, as people said during interviews. What they saw was Robert changing the oil to his wife's 4x4, the Dodge 350, or his truck, his 4x4 Dodge 3500, and he even swapped out the insulation on the attic. So basically, people were just seeing him doing his normal thing with his family. Nothing
Out of the ordinary.
out of the ordinary. Yeah. And instead, what had happened later is an argument between Mary and Robert had happened. Neighbors would hear them argue, but on this day it was a little bit different. Typically, Mary was the yeller. She would scream, "Oh, you're an asshole, you're a dick, whatever. You got a UTI from a masseuse, you're cheating, yada yada yada."
That's crazy.
This is what one of the reports was. And instead what they found, but what they heard was Robert screaming as if he couldn't control his emotions, and he just broke out, to the point where they heard him 4 houses away from his house.
Wow.
Was he bipolar?
That they don't know.
They don't know if he had a
Yeah.
mental disorder?
No.
Wow. Okay, go ahead.
Which is kind of odd, because like I said, if you watch some of these videos of him on YouTube,
Mhm.
you kind of get a sense that he has something
I
is
gotta check him
wrong.
out.
Yeah, something is wrong in his head, for sure. Like something's just off. And when you look into his eyes, like when he smiles, like one thing that I've seen reading, or not seen, actually seen, because I look for it after reading a book, but it's a body language book. When people don't smile with their eyes, they're not being truthful. They're not being honest.
Mhm.
When people smile, they're like this. But when people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
That's called Asian.
No, it's not. You're my dad, man. You're Mexican.
Nah, your mama said I was, but I doubt it.
But yeah, when you see him smile, he doesn't smile with his eyes. So for me, that's a big
Red flag.
red flag.
Yeah.
So now, after this whole screaming match was over, Robert was, the very last time Robert was seen on video or by anyone was at an ATM at Chase Bank.
I remember that picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was
Now,
the night. That's the night he had already left, right?
that's the night that they suspect that he had left.
Ah, okay.
So what they found was he came to the ATM at the Chase Bank at around 10:45 at night, and what he did was he withdrew $280. Now, if you're listening, and I'm sure you guys have questions too, $280 is not a lot of money.
Right.
Hell no.
But in 2001, and because I'm a little slow, I can't remember exactly what they said in the documentary that I saw, but you pull out that certain dollar amount for your expense later on, or whatever you want to spend on later on, and then you're able to withdraw more money. So he pulled out the maximum at that time,
At that time, yeah.
which was 280.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
some people now, like myself included, I have a maximum withdrawal of $500.
Yeah.
Oh, mine is 1,000 for Chase.
See?
Yeah, mine too.
So so he pulled out his max. And again, 2001, $280 is a good chunk of change. It's a decent amount of money. So they see him pull out the max and get back into his car. But it wasn't his car. It was not the Dodge 3500. Instead, he was driving his wife's Toyota 4Runner, which they found odd. Why are you driving your wife's car? You have your own truck. It's kind of strange. Based from what the neighbors were stating at approximate times of the argument between Mary and Robert, it was suspected that he was leaving for a few nights to cool down. So everyone thought this whole argument that they had, that he had just left and went to go cool down, relax, and chill. Now, after the explosion, we're going the day after the explosion now. So this is now the 11th, April 11th. What they found was all of Robert's belongings were gone.
From the house.
From the house.
Oh.
Clothing, shoes, weapons, which he had pretty much an arsenal. His dog wasn't there. A lot of his belongings were not there after this whole explosion came in or happened. With that being said, as I mentioned before, he was prime suspect. He was suspect number one. So with that being said, they then blasted Robert's face all over the news, saying, "If you see this man, contact us, the local PD. We need to ask him some questions." And what ended up happening was it went from local Scottsdale, Arizona news to a whole nationwide event. So many news stations were covering this because they didn't know where the hell this guy was. It was kind of like the Lacey Peterson with Scott Peterson. It happened in a small town, not a small town, but really a quiet town. Not a whole lot of stuff like this happens in Scottsdale, and Dad, I'm sure you can agree. Scottsdale is not a place where crazy shit happens. Scottsdale is basically the Beverly Hills of Arizona. So,
and a lot of porn.
And a lot of porn. Yeah,
they did make a lot of porn there in Scottsdale.
Oh,
sorry.
And as I mentioned during the investigation, a lot of weapons and ammo were actually recovered from Robert's safe. They found bolt-action rifles, shotgun, lever-action rifles, a Smith & Wesson .357 Magnum, big guns. I mean, it's Arizona. That's what he
left behind?
That's what was left behind.
It was in the safe, though, huh?
It was in the safe, yeah.
Oh.
But there was one gun in a smaller safe that wasn't there.
Oh.
Just one gun. Now, the bullet that was found in Mary's head, according to the lead detective back in 2011, Hugh Lockberry, the bullet did not match any weapon found in the house. So this is where it gets very conflicting, because people suspect Robert of killing his whole family and even shooting his wife in the head, but it doesn't match any of his guns. So my question is, and I would like to hear your thoughts, is do you think he may have gone out and gotten a different gun?
He could have.
Or had somebody else do it.
Or somebody else, yeah.
But don't you think someone would have saw someone?
Not
Was it
not
at
that
night?
late.
So
Yeah,
that
when he took off, it
Yeah.
was night. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
when
I
he
don't think anybody, and we didn't have those kind of doorbells back then either, the
No, he
ring and
didn't have the
stuff.
ring.
So I don't think anybody was probably looking for it if he seemed like somewhat of a normal person.
Yeah, and some parts of Scottsdale are real dark.
Yeah.
Back then, when we moved
Yeah.
there, a lot of Arizona wasn't as developed, but some places could be. Who knows? He could have probably hired somebody to do it, or that could, if he did, that even gave him a lot more of a lead time to
yeah.
take
But if
off
he
and
already,
not be found.
yeah.
Yeah, he already
Unless,
had a whole lot of time out of there.
right.
So I'm not too sure. I'm still pretty much, I'm very conflicted with what happened. You know, I don't know if he did it or not, but a lot of evidence does point to him. Like a lot of evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
but it
even
doesn't
if
say
he
why
didn't,
he did it.
right.
Mm-mm.
What caused for him to kill us? Damn, he slaughtered his family. He didn't kill him. He
Yeah.
slaughtered
Yeah.
the kids.
Yeah, the kids had nothing to do with it, literally.
I know, but it never came to light. No investigator or news
Not that they
reporter.
found.
Yeah.
So they don't know what other than he had a what do you have? STD
A
or a
UTI.
UTI or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah. Well, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. They did speculate that he may have had a girlfriend on the side, whether it
Oh.
was that masseuse that he got the UTI from, or
Mhm. Somebody else.
excuse me, or somebody else. But they did speculate that he had a girlfriend.
Mhm.
And as I mentioned, none of his clothing were in the house.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about some of the traces that Robert left behind. In Payson, Arizona, which is as small as a dime, like there's nothing in Payson.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sorry, 10-minute warning. There's nothing out there. But what you can find is a national forest, specifically the Tonto National Forest, and a husband and his wife, just two random people, were going hiking. What they found when they drove up a old back road, which was called Young Road, they saw a man who had a shaved head, just like Robert, by the way. He was a average height, white male, skinny, with a shaved head. What they saw was a man who looked identical to Robert walking the opposite direction that they were driving. And because, like I said before, this is not the time that we're in now, where you can just pull out your iPhone and get a cell service from God knows where, AT&T,
Right.
you know. So they had to wait about a day or so to get back into town and notify the police of, hey, I think I saw this guy that you guys were putting all over the news. A bartender even reported in Payson that she may have spotted Robert with another female. Now, like I said before, he may have had a girlfriend because this bartender saw someone who looked like Robert with a female, and kind of in the same aspect of him and Mary, they were seen at this bar arguing. Why? No one knew.
Hang on, I got a map. Keep talking. I want to
Okay.
look at. I got a map. Keep
Go
talking.
ahead.
1 minute, please.
1 minute, please. So she reported that the couple came into the bar, but was suspicious of the couple. The woman went to the restroom, and the man ordered a drink. And like Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings, the man sat in the dark and was watching everybody from his seat.
Mhm.
Later in the evening, as I said, the report came that a woman was banging on a horse. As I mentioned earlier, later in the evening, through the arguments, hey man,
Oh, I'm trying to look up where you're saying he's at.
I know, but mute your phone or mute your
Huh?
screen.
Oh, sorry.
So, the argument that they saw at the bar then broke out somewhere else, at a hotel.
Mm.
And what they found though was not necessarily an argument. What they found was the female banging on people's doors, saying, "Let me in, let me in." That she said he's trying to hurt me, let me in. But no one knew who she was talking about. No one even knows the name of this woman.
Oh, wow.
They just know that a white woman was banging on doors. Robert had an alleged affair, as I said, with possibly this woman. I don't know.
Mhm.
Nothing else other than alleged came up. So 10 days later, after the deaths of the Fisher family, and 11 days after Robert was last seen, Mary's Toyota, the 4Runner that was with him at the ATM, was seen by a camper in a wooded area up in Young, Arizona. So all of this is in the same small town area.
Okay.
Now Young, Arizona is even smaller than Payson.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's big as far as like the national forests and stuff,
Right.
but there's not a whole lot of people that actually live there. So when the campers came and they saw this 4Runner, which was parked in the middle of the woods all by itself, they called the police, and the police showed up. Now, what's crazy is that when the officers got there, they speculated that the car was actually there for about. This is a really strange duration.
Okay.
They speculated that the vehicle was there for 2 to 6 days.
Okay.
So when I read that, I was like, that's pretty far speculation that you guys got there.
Right.
Now, the campgrounds, 5-minute warning, just so you guys know.
Okay, I'm just looking at this map. I got something to add to your story. It's kind of
go
interesting,
ahead.
but go ahead.
No.
Well, you said he's north of, or what you're saying is Payson or Young. That's north of Scottsdale.
Right.
Up toward Highway 6, actually 2 highways. I don't know how far further north, but there's probably 200 square mile of Apache reservation up there.
That's where they said that he ended up at.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they ain't gonna find him, dude. That's private land.
Yeah.
That's all private land.
They can't go on there.
No. And the highway runs right. If they, from what I'm looking at, I know you guys can't see it on the map, but
I remember driving by it actually when we drove through to go to the Grand Canyon. Me and Brent drove by there, and you could see, the whole reservation, and they got signs all over the place. Everybody knows you can't go in.
No
one can go in there.
And even if you do, if I'm not mistaken, you need to have special permission to even go in there.
You do. Yeah.
Yes, certain skin tone.
Yeah. So that's where they found, and where they found the wife's truck, the 4Runner, was a quarter of a mile from the Apache Junction, or the
Apache
reservation borderline.
Yeah, right off the highway. Highway 60.
Mm-hmm. So they
saw
think
that. He hiked into there. Did they think he hiked into there?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, wow. So he's probably shacked up with some Indian.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, it's already been what, 10? No, it's been 19 years.
Since
19
01.
years.
Yeah.
Since 01.
Exactly 19 years, April.
Yeah, and he hasn't been caught. So he's still on this list.
And that's the furthest they've ever invested. They haven't seen him. I mean, you got Colorado, Utah, and all. They didn't, no sightings up not that far up north.
They have reports all the way from Argentina.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if he did get out of the state, out of the country, he did it just before 9/11.
Yeah.
And after 9/11, there were some restrictions that a lot of people can't get around anymore.
Gone for
he's
weeks.
Gone.
Yeah, if he was gone for weeks camping, he knows certain lands. He knows where to hide.
Especially up there. That's where he went to go camp anyways.
Right.
So he was a survivalist, right?
Yeah.
So do they think he's dead, or do they think he's still alive?
Some people think that he actually killed himself. Yeah. It's
Well,
I don't
It's
want
hard
to
to
say.
say.
yeah, I know. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I think it's
So-
pretty bad either all the way around.
Yeah.
So that's the juice of it. And now let's talk about it. I'm gonna hit end real quick.